Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I am making a New York crumb cake. I made this cake, I just think they're so delicious. They're not too sweet, perfect with a cup of coffee. So here's what I have for hardware. This is an 8-inch square pan that's 20 centimeters. And what I've done is I just fit 2 pieces of foil across to make a sling so that I can lift the cake out afterwards. And then I sprayed it with some baking spray. You don't have to do this. If you want to just cut into your cake and take pieces out, that's fine. If you want to display this on a cake stand or on a platter or something, you want to take it out, and that's how to do it. My oven is coming up to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 Celsius. And while that's going on, I'm going to put the topping together first. This is 8 tablespoons of melted butter, that's unsalted butter, 114 grams, and everything just goes in. The next thing in is 1/3 cup of sugar, that's 78 grams. I have 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar. I didn't have dark brown sugar, so I used a sugar hack that I actually posted on YouTube that I can give to you. It'll be at the end of this video. This is molasses or treacle. That's 1/2 teaspoon mixed in with 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar. That is 82 grams. I have 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and you mix this up. And I have to say, for this recipe, the best thing to do for flour is to use a cake flour. I also have a hack for how to make your own cake flour if you don't have any. And I will post that at the back of this video. So this is 1 1/3 cup, which is 220 grams, and you just mix this all together. This is still warm, and you just put it off to the side for 10 minutes or so while you make the cake part of it. So just make sure this is well incorporated, that's all. It will come down to room temperature. Everything will sort of hydrate the flour, everything will meld together, and then we'll move on into the cake aspect of this. So now the dry ingredients go in. That is the flour, sugar, baking soda, and salt. And you want to run this just on low speed, just until everything's blended together. And with this on low speed, now you start adding your butter 1 piece at a time. And you let this run on low speed with your butter in there until it looks like a moist crumb. This has been about 2 minutes. I have it on the 2nd speed now, by the way. So this is what you're looking for. You want crumb. You don't want big chunks of butter anymore. And this looks pretty perfect to me, so we'll take it from here. This is 1/3 cup of buttermilk. I also have a tip on how to make buttermilk if you happen not to have any in your house. I like using the whole milk buttermilk. It's harder to find, but it's definitely worth it. And this is whole milk, and I put a little acid in it in the way of white distilled vinegar. So I'll put that video up as well, and I'll put links to it below too. So here goes your buttermilk. And let me just mix this up. Buttermilk with the 2 eggs, or I should say 1 egg, 1 yolk, and the vanilla. Everything just goes right in. This gets mixed on high speed for 1 minute. We're about halfway through. The idea here is just to get this batter fluffy. And I'm scraping this bowl down because you know how these bowls are. Okay, here we go. Another 30 seconds or so. This looks beautiful. Look how light that is. Beautiful batter. This recipe came to New York City by German immigrants in the 1880s, and apparently this used to be a cake that was made with yeast. And I looked and I could not find a recipe that did crumb cake with yeast. So if anyone out there has that or knows about it, I'd love to talk to you. See what that recipe looks like. And this just goes right into the tin that you're going to bake this in. So easy, and this is such a great buttery cake. It's just delicious. Now for the crumb part, back to the crumbs. This is going to be dry and stiff, but they're buttery crumbs. Some of these, and between your fingers, you just break this up. And you want to ideally keep them in pieces that are about like that, a large pea size. What I do is I pick it up, I make it into one solid piece, and I find it's easier to break it up that way. And there's a lot of crumb that goes on this little cake. Make sure these are even in here. This is going into a 325 oven, like I said, 160C. You're going to bake this for about 35 to 40 minutes. I'm going to test this at 30 minutes by putting a toothpick in the center. Ideally, what you want to do with any cake is when you take that toothpick out, you should have just a few crumbs hanging onto the toothpick. That is the sweet spot for a cake, because when you take it out of the oven, it continues baking. If you take it out when it's truly clean, then you're going to have an overbaked cake by the time it cools down. So in it goes, and I'll see you when it comes out. Now is the tasting part. This came out of the oven 30 minutes ago. You can't take this out and cut it right away because cake is just too tender for that. You have to let it rest somewhat. So 30 minutes ago, this came out. It took 42 minutes to bake that in my oven. So never pay attention to timing and ovens because ovens lie. This is the toothpick that I used, and I wanted to show this to you to show you what moist crumb is acceptable. Anything more than that, I think I would have put it back in the oven. And a little less than that would have been fine. But the idea is just try to find the sweet spot in your bakes so that the cake crumb is moist and soft, and you won't be disappointed with that. That's a great tip. To remove this, you just use these slings and get rid of this. And then you can just cut this off. I think I'll just take a piece like that. Here it is. That's nice. It's moist. It's not overcooked. Still warm. And finish it with a little sugar. Isn't that pretty? I love my little retro cup here too. So that's it. New York crumb cake. Let me take a taste. This is so good. A cup of coffee, glass of milk with this is excellent. The crumb turns out crunchy. It's a little sweet, not too much. And the cake, of course, is light and buttery. This is really good. Another keeper recipe for you guys. I hope you make this. Let me know if you do. And if you have that yeasted recipe, please let me know about it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye, guys. Like and subscribe. Bye, guys.